Well, hopefully you all enjoyed the first part of the diagnosis on this Toyota Camry here. And full disclosure, this video is nothing but a rant about a dealer that basically lied to void the warranty on this car. And I'm not going to specifically name the dealer, but I will show you the last dealer that worked on it that reported the mileage that we seen the cluster was stuck at, and it's on the Carfax. So on the Carfax here, you can see right here's where it was probably sold or titled, okay, and then here's the service records for it, and then right there is the magic mileage of 13,995, which is the mileage that this car stopped counting miles because the ABS module was a no-com, and it needs to see the ABS module wheel speed sensors to report vehicle speed, which it then uses to record mileage off of. So yeah, let's get into it. Well, you can see the Camry is on the rack back here. Why is it on the rack? We know what's wrong with it. Well, because apparently the dealers don't want to touch it because of the first dealer that looked at it. A little history on this thing. I talked to the customer about this, and he said he'd already called a dealer about trying to get this covered under warranty, and the dealer said no because it's got wreck history. That's strange. This car, we've got this little dent here in the door, which, I mean, it's in the middle of the door and it looks like somebody probably fell into it or something. I mean, that's not a wreck. The front of this bumper has definitely not been painted. You've got some curb rash. What car doesn't have curb rash? You know, the panels fit right. The wheel liner is all correct. There's nothing out of place. All the bolts under this thing are all in it. I mean, if this thing was wrecked, all the plastics are under it. Everything is here. Where are they getting that this thing has been wrecked? Even if it was wrecked, why would you not warranty an electrical part that's not even affected by the wreck? Well, they're saying it possibly was shorted out by the wreck. What? This is crazy. This is really bizarre. So this all started in Georgia. This is a Georgia car. All right. Whoever the owner was had these issues and took it to their dealer. All right. Or they got rid of it and whoever bought it took it to the dealer. The first dealer, I might be wrong, but it was in Union, Georgia. I think that was the first one in the list that I was told today. I'll double check this tomorrow when I go back to the dealer. More on that in a little bit. But the car went to a dealer in Georgia where it was bought from, and they diagnosed this thing as a bad ABS module and a bad power steering module, and would not cover it due to it having collision damage. Okay, where's the collision damage? It didn't say. They denied covering it under warranty, made them pay a diagnostic fee, all right, and then it got sold or whatever, went off to another owner. That person took it to another dealer. Same thing. They look up the history and say, oh, well, this was at a dealer and that dealer said it's been in a wreck. So now their paperwork says not covered due to being in a wreck. They went in a little more detail and the wreck damage is right here. Can y'all see this? That. They said there was condenser damage. You can see the grill here has been a little broke. Something hit here, went in the grill, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see in there too well, but the condenser is just barely bent up. The condenser is not leaking, and it's not had a condenser put in it. This is their wreck damage that they are denying a warranty claim on this for. It's not even that Toyota is denying a warranty claim. It's the dealers will not process a warranty claim because of this. You know what this looks like? This looks like a shady tech that says, hey, look at this. This is damaged. I don't have to cover this under warranty. Let's see if we can get some customer pay money out of this. I mean, it might not be the tech. It might be the service advisor. It might be the service manager. I don't know. But somebody tried to take advantage of whoever sent this to the dealer the first time. And that's wrong. That is definitely wrong. There is no damage under this thing. All this is fine. Yeah, like I said, you've got some little bit of curb rash. Who's never ran a car up on a bump, like a curb somewhere, you know, pulling into a parking lot? This is normal wear and tear, especially on a car. This bumper's not been painted. Look at this. Look at this, the fender gap. That's perfect. The wheel liner, perfect. It has definitely not been in any kind of front-end collision. I'm frustrated about this car, and it's not even my car. 14,000 miles, and they're denying some warranty on some modules. It's nuts. What's even crazier is the modules that are in question, you know, right here. That's the main one, the power steering module. And then we know the ABS module, which is just right up above it. Where's the damage? There is none. This car is a nice car. This is insane. Insane. Somebody tried taking advantage of a customer at one dealer, and the way that dealer wrote this up, now every dealer is scared to touch it. Why? Because if somebody does do a warranty claim on it, Toyota looks at the history from other dealers, they're going to go, well, this has already been tried to claim now 3 times at 3 different dealers in Georgia, and every one of them has said accident damage. Well, they're only saying accident damage because the first one said accident damage. How is this responsible for taking out a power steering module and an ABS module? It's just not. It's not possible. Now, why would 2 modules be bad? I've got a theory about it, and I think the main thing is the power steering module went bad. Internally failed, right? Well, how did that take out the ABS module? Well, let me go dig out a module that I've got took apart, and I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking. All right, so I got a couple modules here. I want to show you kind of what the typical CAN bus module looks like inside. All CAN bus modules is going to have a CAN bus transceiver. It's going to be a chip that basically sees the incoming CAN bus and then can also transmit CAN bus back out. So it'll receive and transmit. So when it's receiving, it is translating it down for the CPU basically to see it, and then the CPU will then send it messages, and then it turns it into a CAN signal and outputs that. Most of them that you'll see on modules is going to be an 8-leg chip that looks very similar to an EEPROM chip. Some of them are like your normal size EEPROM, some of them are the smaller ones, but in most cases you're going to see a filter in line. So we've got 3 different modules here. This is a cluster out of something. This is a GPEC computer out of some kind of Dodge or Jeep or something. And this is out of a GM something. I can't remember. But on this cluster, this chip right here, if I can get this to focus, let's zoom you in here. There might be too much light, but that's the CAN bus chip, and this little thing right here is the filter. So raw CAN bus is coming in, this filters it for this. This little filter basically saves this little chip. On the GPEC here, same thing. We've got this little filter right here. Oh, this is getting real shaky, I'm sorry. But we have this little filter, and you can see coming out of the filter, it goes to this chip. That's the CAN bus chip. On this one, we've got 2 of these filters. And then we got a CAN bus chip here and here, because this one actually has a dedicated powertrain CAN bus to another module. So it has 2. So you can kind of see what a typical module looks like, but this is not always the case. Sometimes your CAN transceiver chips are completely different. They're a multi-leg, kind of like how this one is. A much bigger chip, because they cannot also be like dual or multi-purpose. They may be a CAN chip as well as a LIN bus chip or something like that. They can process multiple things. The filter is a little different in some of those chips. I have one other module somewhere, and I've been looking for it. I've not been able to find it. That is a CAN bus module, and it uses, instead of a filter like these where it's a coil of wire basically wrapped around another coil of wire, it's got 2 little transceivers that are, they pretty much are like transistors, little 3-legged chips, and one goes to one, like your CAN high, and one goes to your CAN low. So it'll have like 3 legs on it. One leg will be like a power or whatever to power this little chip up, and then it's got like another one coming in that's the raw CAN bus, and then it's basically switching and outputting the exact same signal, just at a lower amplitude, and it also is making it safer for the chip. It's basically kind of like something, if something was to happen to the CAN bus, it gets pulled down or gets pulled up to voltage or something, that little chip is made to kind of handle that kind of stuff and protects the CAN transceiver chip. Sometimes modules don't have great filtering or some way of protecting the CAN bus chip. Like on this car that we're dealing with, this Camry, our power steering module is not only shorted the CAN lines together, but is pulling them to ground. It's shorting them to ground. Well, what if the ABS module is continually trying to send out a signal? I mean, you're going to have a 2.5 volt bias that every module is going to create on its own. So it's already got a 2.5 volt bias that is now getting pulled to ground. Well, if it continuously is trying to pull that up and pulse out data packets, what if the CAN transceiver protection circuit is just not all that great, and over time trying to pull this voltage up and send out data packets has just burnt the chip up? Or the filter circuit, it's burnt the filter circuit up somehow. There's several things inside that module that could happen to keep it from communicating, and I can kind of see how an issue in another module can sometimes kill another module, basically. It is extremely rare. But we also don't know what kind of circuitry is in that ABS module. We don't know how they are protecting that CAN line. So that's kind of my thought, is whatever happened to the power steering that shorted out probably just coincidentally damaged the ABS module, either at the same time or it being prolonged use of trying to basically still function after this event has occurred and just burn it up. So that is my thought on why there's two modules. I think the power steering is the main one, and the ABS is probably just a rare casualty of it. So tomorrow I'm driving the Camry to the dealer, the local dealer here, and gonna have a conversation with the service manager there. He's a nice guy. We're gonna talk it over. I'm gonna see if they'll inspect the vehicle, call their regional manager, their regional rep from Toyota, and say, hey, this kind of doesn't really look like a wreck. This, you know, see if we can't get this approved and get this car fixed and on the road. Because I mean, it's still under powertrain, it's still under the bumper to bumper. There's a 3-year 36,000 mile, it is still covered by that. There is no reason this car shouldn't be warranted. That little bit of bumper damage and the bent condenser that ain't even leaking, come on now, that's ridiculous. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I probably won't film anything there at the dealer, but I will bring you guys back along after I leave there and let you know how that meeting goes. Well, the visit to the dealer went about as expected. The service manager there that I know, he basically just kind of looked over the history of it, and he's like, man, I'm not disagreeing that the car, you know, has clearly not been in a wreck, but the way they have this documented, not only at one dealer, but at 4 dealers, he's like, I can't touch this car as far as replacing these under warranty. He's like, there's just too much documentation. It's not going to matter what we say or do. That documentation's there, and Toyota's going to kick it back. I mean, the first dealer, I have no idea what they were trying to do, but clearly something shady going on there. Clearly the car's not been in a wreck. I mean, I just don't understand it. Now, here's another issue that this car has that is going to tarnish its value, is the car is actually now technically a TMU car. If you don't know what TMU is, that is true miles unknown. And that is because the first dealer didn't fix the car. Why, you say? Well, it's pretty simple. This car doesn't use a transmission vehicle speed sensor to know how fast it's going. It uses wheel speed sensors to know how fast the car is going. So, as you can see, we're driving down the road. It doesn't see us moving. I've already drove it probably 10 or 15 miles. The mileage hasn't changed. It's a TMU car. We have no idea how many miles this car has been driven now. It blows my mind that the first dealer claimed something false And then every dealer after that was too scared to say something, and they went with it. It went to 3 other dealers after that. 3 different dealers, completely different parts of Georgia. This thing's been bounced around car auction to car auction, from one used car dealer to another used car dealer, hoping to get the car fixed, and they're not going to fix the car under warranty. So now I'm get to take it back to the dealer that brought me the car, give them the bad news that yep, there's absolutely nothing warranty available as far as the power steering or the ABS or the airbag module or the steering angle sensor. Anything that had documented codes in any of those reports will ever be warranted on this car. A dealer will be too scared to do it, too scared that it'll get kicked back to them. So the reality is one shady dealer has messed this car up. Like, regardless of what happened to the car, I mean, if they didn't know what happened to the car and were too scared that it would get kicked back because they couldn't prove what happened to the car, you know, it is sometimes fishy that one module goes bad and another module goes bad at the same time. It is questionable. 100% guarantee that's questionable. I understand that. But why claim collision? That's what doesn't make sense. The car's not been in a wreck. I mean, if they were too worried about it, they could have just said, you know, we don't know what's wrong with it or what caused this, but there's multiple issues. Maybe you should call your insurance company. Get your insurance company involved, because the way this is, we don't believe we can cover this under warranty. That's 100% okay. Tell the customer you don't think you can warranty it because too many things are broke at this time. Something's happened to the car. Call the insurance company. You know, lightning damage. I've had several case studies on the channel already of lightning damage, and they don't always present physical marks. They don't. Sometimes it's just a close proximity, and the EMF can just zap some modules. They could have claimed that. You know, get the insurance company involved, say, we believe this was a lightning issue or something else, something unnatural. Let the insurance company pay for it. But no, they have just destroyed the value of this car because they made a false claim saying it was collision damage in their documentation. So, as we've discussed, they claim this vehicle had collision damage, which I've already shown you. The only collision damage is the front bumper has a little bit of damage to it. The entire underneath this car is perfectly fine. There's no wiring damage anywhere. I've already shown all of that to you. Now let me show you the proof in the car that the car has not been in a collision. If you don't know, Toyotas actually kind of keep some black box type information, and a lot of it might actually surprise you. They actually set some secret codes that most scan tools can't see, called ROB codes. And then there's also some other information that they call, let me get back over here to the main menu of this, PCS FFD retrieval. So this icon right here, this is Toyota GTS Plus. This right here is like collision related stuff. So if there was a collision with this car, it's going to be stored in here. So once you're on this screen hooked up to GTS and you click on this, it's actually going to come up here with this notice that says they are required to get written consent before downloading all this. Well, I've got verbal consent. It's also a car dealer. I'm not sure what the legal ramifications are of looking at this before asking the person. I'm not real sure, but either way, it gives you this notice that you have to agree to first, and then it lets you read the data or generate a file. We want to read the data, so we're going to hit next here, and it's going to tell you this is going to read out image data, operation, and vehicle control history. Sorry, my hands are shaky today. I'm a little hungry. It's lunchtime. So we're going to hit next. This says it does take between 1 and 90 minutes to read out all this data, and it's going to kind of come up to this screen and tell you all the stuff that it's going to look at, and we're going to tell it next, and it should pop up estimated time here, how long it's actually going to take. Yep, so about 18 minutes. So we're going to hit next here, and we're going to let it do its thing, and when this gets done, we'll come back and show you what kind of collision data is actually stored in this car. And we're back. It is completed. So we want to now view the file. It saved the file. We're going to view it. And of course, apparently I've lost internet connection. I've been having problems with GTS all day today, dropping internet connection. But anyways, this is your black box data, and this doesn't necessarily sit in one particular module. I think it can sit in several different modules, because you see, like, these are accelerator pedals codes or instances, and you can actually see over here the key cycle. So this happened at key cycle 8, 31, 54, 54, and the elapsed time, I guess, of when the ignition was on that it happened. So this happened like 30 seconds after the key was turned on, it looks like, and this is 3 minutes 42 seconds. But these are clearly odometer 0. These are clearly from when the vehicle was still in the factory getting things put together, I'm sure. But you see right here, we got sudden braking history, and we've got the odometer. So right here, this one's really close, 13,736. And for some reason, these are not in order. I have no idea what their organization is for how they order these, but we've got time and date stamps also over here. So you can see this happened on 8/5, so that's August 5th of 2023. And if we scroll down through here, you can see we've got more odometers and dates and things like that. And I don't really understand the logic behind the order system, because you see we're up to like 13,000 miles here and back down to 11. So these are all different things, like accelerator pedal opening angle is medium or higher immediately after shifting to R. This is all like things that triggered a record. So they're concerned about you putting it in reverse and then immediately hitting the gas pedal too hard. This is the data that it saves. Now this, I'm not sure what TRC stands for, but TRC operation history, you see this happened at 13,877. So getting closer to that magic number of 995, but still not that. I went through all of these already once, and none of these have that date. This one's real close, 13,979, 13,985. These are steering angle, speed. A certain number was detected related to lane departure assist or lane keep assist or something else. I'm sure that's probably what those stand for. And then you can see right here 14,001, and that was on 7/11. This was actually after I got the power steering module talking again. Now, one thing to keep and pay attention to on this is this right here. So this means if it's got something here, it means the front camera, which is up here in the windshield, took pictures and saved the pictures. So as you can see right here, we triggered an event at 14,028 miles. So if we click on this and we go show detail, these little flags right here are actually pictures, and it's going to show them over here of what happened. So in this, we had basically seeing the steering angle twitch or something that it didn't like, and based off, I guess, the road lines or whatever, it flagged this event. So if we go back over here, let's go down here. This saves a pre and post. So you can see we're at negative 5.75 seconds. So it started taking pictures 5 seconds before the actual event. And over here we've got vehicle speed, which this is actually in kilometers, so my rough math on that, we're going to be 50 mile an hour, 55 mile an hour. My rough math, just kind of looking at the cluster there. So we're about 55 mile an hour when this happened. So as you can see here on the image, we're in the center of the lane. And if we just go picture by picture down here, you can see that it starts to edge off the road there. And pay attention to our time frame also down here. We're almost to where it triggered the event. So right here is where it triggered the event. So if you're paying attention to the camera, it looks like we edged off the side of the road and pulled it back onto the road. And we also have this nice car coming towards us. And then you also get several seconds after the event. Come on, get on there where I'm move you. So about 5.5 seconds after the event. So you can see the car, it looks like it edged off the road and then pulled back on and then was fine again. Now this wasn't me, I didn't do this. I actually gave the vehicle back to them while I was on vacation, and they fixed the dent in the driver door, which you guys probably already seen. The door damage, well, it's not damaged anymore. So they've actually had the car back, and they've been doing repair work, the body work to the door and stuff like that while I was gone on vacation and stuff like that. But this is some of the stuff that this car, and it's pretty much all these newer Toyotas are doing this. As far as I know, there is no aftermarket tooling that can see this information. And the key just turned off on me. I guess it didn't like me having it on for so long. I do have a voltage maintainer hooked up, but yeah, it saves important data like this. So if this was in a collision, we would have camera footage of it. I mean, by God, if you edge off the road and twitch the steering wheel back hard enough, it's going to trigger it. So if you're in a collision, it's going to trigger it. Well, let's go back and look through these other events that it had. Let me get pulled back up here. So this very top entry right here, this has camera data. You see, not all of them will have camera data. They have to have a strong enough event to where it triggers the camera. So you see we have that one at the very top, and then we have this one, which is the one we just looked at, and that's it. Those two events. And this happened before the mileage stopped working, so if there was collision damage, this would be it. This would be the wreck. As you can see, we've got an image here about 5.5 seconds pre-trigger. So let's hit the play button here and we'll watch this and see what happens. Oh yeah, that was close, but that was not a collision. Let's watch that again. Let's go back. So the trigger event says sudden braking. Well, you see the vehicle here just kind of come over and slammed on the brakes. So I guess that they could turn. So whoever was driving this vehicle had to slam on their brakes to keep from hitting that person. And this right here was the trigger event. So as you can see, the brake lights come on. These cars do get close. They get real close. And he does, I think he swerves. No, it looks like he may have stayed in his lane. But whoever's in this SUV definitely come across. So that was a close encounter, but that was not a collision at all. Just really close. So you can see come through the red light there, and he's in the same lane that he went through the red light in, but this guy, it looks like he come over. And yeah, you can see the value here, the speed. Let's go back to the beginning, see what the beginning speed was. It's not going to tell me, is it? Where are you going to tell me the speed? There you go. Alright, so 101 kilometers. That's going to be roughly 60 miles an hour. So these frames start at roughly 60 miles an hour. And we get the sudden braking down to 29, 25, 21, 20, 19. Wow, 19. Down to 19. 19 kilometers an hour. That's about 10 miles an hour. So yeah, that was a heavy braking event. But that was not a wreck. There was no collision damage from this. If this was the event that caused these modules to stop talking, this would be it. Like the mileage would be right here. But it's not. The dealer tech literally had the proof here that it wasn't in a collision, but yet he lied and said it was in a collision, which then has basically blacklisted this car from getting a power steering module and an ABS module put in this thing to fix it under warranty. Now, like I've already said, this may not even have been a warranty issue. This could have easily been, and I'm leaning towards a lightning strike vehicle, and of course that's not warranty. I 100% agree that is not a warranty issue, but the tech could have said that. You know, he's lied, falsified his documentation to say this was in a collision, and that's my issue. That is my gripe with this dealer tech. I think I've shown ample proof the car's not been wrecked, and especially not been wrecked in a sense that it would cause this damage at all. So that is my rant on a scummy dealer tech. And if you're in a position where you have a car like this, and you know, not necessarily the Toyota, but if you're just in a position where you have an issue with your car and you don't know what's wrong with it, you take it to a dealer or any other mechanic shop and they tell you something that in your head just doesn't make any sense at all, please do yourself a huge favor, make them document it, show you exactly what they're saying is the problem. If they said this car was in a collision, show me where the collision happened. Show me the damage that resulted in this issue. If they can't do that, leave immediately. Because this, like I said, this car right here has been blackballed by Toyota. You will never get a power steering module warranted on this, an ABS module warranted on this. You won't even get an alternator warranty on this thing because one of the other dealers said there was an aftermarket wire attached to the alternator. Now there is an issue with the alternator on this vehicle that we're going to be diagnosing as well. I haven't diagnosed it yet, but it does have a fault code set for an alternator issue, and we're going to be trying to figure that out in another part. But that's my rant on the scummy dealer tech that lied. Don't lie to your customers. You're an advocate for the customer. You don't be an advocate for a big corporation that pays warranty time. You're an advocate for the customer, the person that owns the car that brought it to you. That's your boss. They pay you. If that customer doesn't bring their car to you, you have no job. You have no income coming in. I don't care who ultimately pays the bill, whether it's the actual customer or the warranty department. The customer that owns the car is the one getting you paid. Be the advocate for the customer. And like I said, I don't even care that they didn't want to warranty it because they couldn't explain it or whatever. Or I think this is a lightning strike. You know, if it's a lightning strike, this could have been an insurance claim. Easily an insurance claim. Let them file it on their insurance. You still get paid. But instead, you lied, the car left, the car gets sold, the car goes to several other dealers. They're all scared to touch it because of what you wrote in your original story. So that's it for this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more of this car. We're actually going to be fixing it. And like I said, we got some more stuff to diagnose.